Imagine waking up one day to find the world turned completely upside down, literally. The cities we know and love are submerged, and what was once the vast ocean is now an endless, barren wasteland. Skyscrapers, monuments, and homes vanish beneath the waves, while the former seafloor becomes an expansive desert. This isn't a distant sci-fi fantasy. This is what would happen if water and land suddenly swapped places. The initial chaos. A global catastrophe. Within moments of this planetary upheaval, chaos would engulf every corner of the Earth. Cities like New York, London, and Tokyo would disappear under crushing waves, while ocean beds, filled with mysterious marine trenches, would be exposed to the harsh sunlight for the first time in history. Tsunamis would rush into populated areas, obliterating infrastructure and drowning millions. Meanwhile, cruise ships and fishing vessels would plummet from their comfortable spots on the ocean's surface, crashing onto the dry seabed. The once vibrant Amazon rainforest would be completely submerged, and with it, countless species of flora and fauna would be lost forever. While people in inland regions might have a brief moment of safety, those near coastlines would have little chance of survival. The rapid flooding would claim everything in its path, and with no time to prepare, the world would be thrust into an unprecedented catastrophe. The fate of marine life, a mass extinction. The abrupt disappearance of water would spell disaster for marine life. Millions of fish, whales, dolphins, and other oceanic creatures would be left stranded, gasping for oxygen. The ocean's once teeming biodiversity would turn into a mass graveyard as sea creatures succumb to the lack of water. However, some species might adapt better than others. Creatures capable of surviving in both water and on land, such as amphibians, crocodiles, and some species of turtles, would have the best chances of enduring this apocalyptic shift. Meanwhile, deep-sea creatures, those hidden in the depths of ocean trenches, would likely be wiped out instantly as their high-pressure environment disappeared overnight. A new landscape. The world's geography transformed. With this cataclysmic change, Earth's geography would look unrecognizable. The former ocean floors would now form a massive landmass, dividing the planet into regions unlike anything we've seen before. New continents would rise where the deep sea once lay, while the former continents would become new oceans. The United States would be split in half by the new North American Ocean, while Europe and Africa would become scattered islands. Asia, the largest continent, would be submerged, leaving only the highest peaks of the Himalayas visible as isolated landmasses in the new Asian Ocean. Cities that once thrived on coasts would be buried beneath miles of water. Those lucky enough to live on elevated land might survive, but they'd face a completely new world, one where resources would become incredibly scarce. Survival in a drowned world. For humans, survival would be an uphill battle. Those who managed to escape the floodwaters would have to find a new way to live in this transformed environment. Without power plants, electricity would become a thing of the past. Homes, farms, and factories would be gone, replaced by an endless ocean that offered no shelter or sustenance. Fresh water would be scarce. Since many lakes and rivers would now be buried underwater, humans would struggle to find drinking water. Those who did survive would have to rely on rainwater collection or desalination techniques, if they could even develop them in such dire circumstances. Food would be another challenge. Most crops would be wiped out, leading to widespread famine. However, the survivors might turn to one unexpected source: the millions of dead fish left on the dry ocean beds. Salting and drying these fish could help sustain small populations for a time. But it wouldn't be a long-term solution. Insects would thrive in this new world, feeding on decaying marine life. And with insects comes disease. Mosquitoes, in particular, would spread rapidly, leading to outbreaks of malaria and other deadly illnesses. A climate on the brink of collapse. One of the most unexpected consequences of this massive land-water swap would be climate instability. Right now, Earth's oceans play a critical role in regulating global temperatures by absorbing heat and carbon dioxide. With oceans reduced to a fraction of their former size, the planet would become significantly hotter. Desert-like conditions would dominate much of the exposed seabed, making it nearly impossible to grow crops. Rainfall would diminish due to the decreased water surface, leading to widespread droughts. Meanwhile, what little ocean remained would have trouble sustaining marine life, leading to even more ecological collapse. The disruption of ocean currents would further accelerate climate change. Currently, these currents help distribute heat around the planet, keeping temperatures stable. In this new world, narrow channels of water would struggle to perform the same function, leading to extreme weather patterns. Some regions would face never-ending storms, while others would turn into barren wastelands. A future of adaptation, the new human civilization. Despite all these catastrophic changes, humanity has a history of resilience. In this post-apocalyptic world, survivors would need to build a new civilization from whatever materials they could salvage. Interestingly, one resource would be in abundance: ocean trash. With over 5 trillion pieces of plastic and debris currently floating in our seas, much of it would now be scattered across the barren ocean floor. Ingenious survivors could repurpose this waste into makeshift shelters and tools. Cities would need to be built from the ground up. Farming would have to be reimagined, perhaps by cultivating salt-resistant plants or even developing underground greenhouses. Those who lived near the remaining water sources might resort to aquaculture, farming fish and seaweed to survive. Over time, the survivors would have to adapt to a harsher, more unforgiving world. They might evolve to require less oxygen, develop more efficient ways of conserving energy, or even discover new food sources among the remaining wildlife. A new evolutionary path. With Earth's ecosystems irreversibly altered, species that managed to survive would undergo drastic evolutionary changes. Mammals might develop larger lungs to cope with lower oxygen levels. Reptiles, already well-suited to both land and water, would dominate this new world. Birds, lacking trees for nesting, might make homes in the ruins of former skyscrapers. Insects, already survivors of past mass extinctions, would flourish, taking advantage of decaying organic matter. Unfortunately, this means that diseases spread by insects, such as malaria and dengue fever, would become even more prevalent. Could humanity rebuild? The big question remains, could humans truly survive in this radically different world? The answer is both hopeful and uncertain. Throughout history, human populations have rebounded from near-extinction events, adapting to the most extreme conditions imaginable. Given enough time, people could develop new technologies, alternative food sources, and sustainable ways to live in this strange, waterlogged world. However, civilization as we know it would be gone. Cities, technology, and infrastructure would need to be rebuilt from scratch. In a world where survival depends on innovation and resourcefulness, only the most adaptable would make it through. The world forever changed. If water and land were to suddenly switch places, life on Earth would be altered in ways we can barely comprehend. Entire species would vanish, cities would drown, and climate chaos would reshape the planet. Humanity, faced with the ultimate test of survival, would have to forge a new way of life in this ocean-dominated world. Could we rise to the challenge? Perhaps. But one thing is certain: our world would never be the same again. And who knows? Maybe in some distant future, humans will evolve into an advanced civilization capable of overcoming even the most impossible odds. What a crazy, terrifying, and mind-blowing world that would be. But hey, if you love this video, make sure to smash that like button. And if you're hungry for more mind-bending theories and extreme possibilities, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we have coming next.